The Most Incredible Thing, retold from the original by Hans Christian Andersen. Once upon a time, the king and queen of Slavonia decided their daughter, the princess, should marry. The man who could do the most incredible thing would win the hand of the princess and also half the kingdom. A panel of judges was appointed by the king and a day given for them to decide who had done the most incredible thing. On that day, men from all over the kingdom arrived to try and do the most incredible thing. One tried acrobatics, another drank 150 goblets of beer, and another tried to eat 50 chickens. But the king was so bored by all of them that they nearly sent him to sleep. He was almost dozing off when a man appeared with an amazing clock. Every time it struck an hour, out came people who sang and spoke. "This clock must be the most incredible thing," declared the king. When the clock struck 1 o'clock, an old man dressed in flowing robes appeared. He was holding a large tablet of stone and carving words on it using a very sharp chisel. He was carving the most incredible messages on the tablet, and the crowd were amazed at what he had written. All the messages told them how they should behave in their everyday lives. As the clock struck 2, Adam and Eve were seen standing in the Garden of Eden. They were happily picking flowers and playing amongst the bushes and trees of the garden without wearing a stitch of clothing. They didn't need any. "This truly is the most incredible thing we have ever seen," the people cried out in delight. As the clock struck 3, 3 kings dressed in long robes and wearing golden crowns appeared to the crowd. They were each carrying special gifts. "My gift is a box of gold," said the first king. "I bring a box of frankincense that could be burned to make a sweet-smelling perfume," said the second. "My gift is a box of myrrh," said the third king. At 4 o'clock, the 4 seasons stepped out of the clock. Spring carried a cuckoo sitting on a twig and singing heartily. Summer held a ripe ear of corn with a grasshopper perched on top. Autumn wore an empty nest on her head from which the bird had flown, and Winter was carrying an old crow who told stories of old on cold evenings in front of the fire. As the clock struck 5, out came the 5 senses. Sight was an optician busy making glasses. Hearing was a coppersmith beating his pans into shape. Smell was a pretty girl selling sweet-scented flowers, violets and sweet woodruff. Taste was a cook stirring a big pot of soup, and Feeling was a serious man who never smiled. He kept his head and body well hidden under a big black cape. At 6 o'clock, 2 gamblers appeared. They were sitting at a table in front of the royal family, the judges and the crowd of people. They were playing a game with dice, where the one who threw the highest number was the winner. Both men were looking extremely pleased with themselves, as both the dice were lying with the number 6 on the top. Next, on the stroke of 7 o'clock, 7 more characters stepped forward. "We are the 7 days of the week," they declared. Saturday was a jolly old fellow with a huge bag of money. Sunday had a very cheerful face that looked like sunshine. Monday was a very stern man dressed in heavy armor. But the crowd couldn't work out who the other days were because they didn't speak. At 8 o'clock, 8 monks appeared, each one dressed in the special brown robes that monks wear. "The 8 incredible monks are we. Let us fill your hearts with glee," they said. Then they sang 8 beautiful songs, and the crowds who were watching this magnificent display clapped and cheered. At 9 o'clock, the 9 muses, who were all sisters and all goddesses in ancient Greek times, appeared from the clock. One goddess knew a lot about the moon and the stars, another was especially clever at making potions to cure the sick. The rest of the sisters were involved in the theatre, acting or playing instruments or reading out well-known poems. 10 o'clock struck, and the crowd saw the old man appear again with his stone tablet. This time they realized the old man in the flowing robes was Moses, and the words he'd written on the stone tablet were the 10 Commandments. The crowd were very impressed with the beautiful writing and the clever words on the tablet. At the stroke of 11, girls and boys came skipping out of the clock. They all kept counting up to 11. On the count of 11, each boy joined hands with a girl, and they all did a little dance. "What incredible fun this is!" shouted the boys and girls, and the crowd clapped and cheered as they watched them. Some of the crowd were so thrilled when they saw the boys and girls dancing that they joined in. At last the clock struck 12. The night watchman stepped forward. He looked a frightening figure as he stood in his tall hat with his big spiky club at his side. He took a deep breath and then started to sing to the watching crowds. As he sang his song, roses sprang up and the roses soon turned to angels' heads. The crowd were so impressed with the clock that they declared that it was truly incredible. Hi guys, I hope you're enjoying the audio ebook. I won't keep you for long. Last year I was demonetized by YouTube and so I lost all opportunity to earn. But I love sharing the audio ebooks with you so much, I carried on. If you value what I'm doing here, please consider heading over to my other channel, Book Club, and hitting that subscribe button as a sign of support. The link's in the description. Now, back to the book. Enjoy. The special panel of judges agreed that the clever inventor of the clock had shown them the most incredible thing, and there was no doubt in their minds that he deserved the hand of the beautiful princess and half the kingdom. A great party was thrown in honor of the inventor, and he was so happy when he saw the beautiful princess smiling at him. "You have done the most incredible thing," cried the judges, "so you deserve the hand of this lovely princess in return." "Don't be shy, young man. Step forward and kiss the princess," said the chief judge. And as soon as the young man stepped forward to kiss his princess, the whole crowd cheered with delight. "You are the most beautiful princess I have ever seen, and you have made today the happiest day of my life," whispered the young man. Everything was going so well until a thin, ugly-looking man leapt out of the crowd. "Shut up, all of you!" shouted the man. "I'm the one who's going to do the most incredible thing," he said, and then he picked up his axe and smashed the clock into 1,000 pieces. The clock looked a very sorry sight with its cogs, springs, and hands flying all over the place. "Ha ha ha!" shrieked the wicked man. "I told you I would do the most incredible thing, and now I've done it." The king and his daughter couldn't believe their eyes when they saw the beautiful clock had been smashed into 1,000 pieces. "How could you have destroyed such a beautiful clock?" cried the king. "Now you've undone all this clever young man's good work." "What you've done is a wicked thing indeed, but there's no doubt in our minds that by destroying the clock, it's you who has done the most incredible thing," said the judges. "So that makes you the winner of the contest, and the lucky man who's entitled to the hand of the princess. After all, we have to keep our word, even if you do seem, ahem, rather an unlikely husband for the princess." The princess was very unhappy at the thought of having to spend the rest of her life with such an ugly man, but she was a responsible sort of a girl and wouldn't go back on a promise, so she agreed to marry him. At the church, the princess looked absolutely beautiful in her wedding gown. The guests weren't very happy to see the ill-matched pair, but they pretended to smile as they walked down the aisle. Because weddings are meant to be happy occasions, all the guests made a big effort to look as if they were enjoying themselves, and they all sang in their sweetest voices. Suddenly their singing was interrupted by a noise coming from outside the church. The church doors flew open, and in rushed the springs, cogs, and all the characters who lived inside the clock. They marched towards the bride and bridegroom and stood between them. "You thought we had gone for good, but you don't get rid of us that easily," said the characters from the clock. Then all the pieces of the clock started to join together like a giant jigsaw, and in no time at all the characters had climbed back into the clock. Then the clock started to strike again. 1. Out came the old man with his tablets of stone. 2. Out came Adam and Eve. 3. The 3 kings appeared. 4. The 4 seasons came out. And so it went on. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, until all the incredible characters from the clock had appeared again. When all the people from the clock had assembled, they all told the wily old bridegroom that he should be ashamed of himself, but he felt no shame. "How do you expect me to take any notice of simple figures from a clock?" he laughed. The last character to come out of the clock was the night watchman with his cap and his club, and he was very angry when he heard the wicked man's words. The night watchman wasted no time in going straight up to the ugly bridegroom and hitting him on the head with his spiky club until he fell onto the floor and couldn't get up again. He had a bump on the top of his head that was the size of an ostrich egg. "You can lie there until somebody bothers to pick you up," said the night watchman. "Yes, we won't help you," shouted the other characters. The king then ordered the judges to summon the inventor again. Now the clock has repaired itself, I declare that the inventor should have my daughter's hand in marriage, he proclaimed. And can somebody please take this wicked man to the hospital? He's making the place look untidy, said the chief judge. So the wicked scoundrel was taken away. A few minutes later, the inventor arrived at the church. He held the lovely princess in his arms, and they were married straight away. Nobody was jealous of the happy pair, and perhaps that was the most incredible thing of all. The end. Hi guys, I hope you're enjoying the audio ebook. I won't keep you for long. Last year I was demonetized by YouTube and so I lost all opportunity to earn. But I love sharing the audio ebooks with you so much, I carried on. If you value what I'm doing here, please consider heading over to my other channel, Book Club, and hitting that subscribe button as a sign of support. The link's in the description.